James Fetzer. You're going to be doing a debate, talking with him, and tell us about that briefly and how we'll be able to listen in on that.
All right, he broadcasts on, it's a weird link. I'll post it on Ball Earth Skeptic, and I'll tweet it out at My Rabbit's Hole is my Twitter. I'll set that up tomorrow or Wednesday. But the way it came about was I do work with Sophia Smallstorm on Sandy Hook and other things, and she woke up to the flat Earth recently, and we have a connection with Fetzer, and we kept floating out flat Earth stuff at him, and we got into the normal flat Earth arguments from the well-educated, and he thinks it's utterly ridiculous. He finally agreed to dedicate half of one of his 2-hour shows to setting me straight on the ball Earth, and he wants us both to take 30 minutes and present our facts, and I'm trying to convince him to do a debate back and forth. But he doesn't want that, so I'm going to present my facts in 15 minutes and then engage him for the rest of my 15 minutes. And that'll be Wednesday night, 8 o'clock Eastern Time.
All right, fantastic. I know you're in between things, gigs, or whatever it is that you're doing, wherever you're driving to. I want to ask both you and Mark, just, as long as you're still here, David, the whole climate talk, global warming hoax, that whole thing going on, how do you see that, the climate talks in relation to flat Earth? Either one of you care to chime in on that?
Go ahead, Mark.
I don't really have an opinion on it, to be honest. I don't think it is because of the whole flat Earth enclosed world system model. Everything else has become second and third tier for me, and I've heard enough about climate change over the years. Like, fine, why are we even really talking about climate change? Exactly. Is it because it is, acknowledging whether it's real or not real and steps to take to try to reduce the climate change? Because if you believe the scientists, we've already gone past the point of no return. If it's a globe model, now if it's in an enclosed model, maybe that's not true. So honestly, I don't pay much attention to it.
Yeah,
all right.
I'm the same way. Isn't there some climate conference going on in Paris? And
exactly.
And they're, because of these attacks, they're more likely to pass it, which I don't understand.
Well, I mean, none of it makes any sense. The whole Paris event makes no sense. And this tied in with it, it just is awfully suspicious. So climate change, not happening. We are polluting the environment and killing species. Yes, no one's in denial about that. But I see the whole Paris event and the climate change conference somehow tied. It's just another way to manipulate us, brainwash us. I'm not quite sure how they're doing it, but they are. It's just another way to put the attention on the ball Earth, the climate change thing, and reaffirming that event in Paris was real. Kind of a 2-for-1. It's a twofer, I think.
I suppose. I mean, I watched an Inconvenient Truth, that Al Gore documentary years ago, but that was long enough ago now to where it's like, climate change, honestly, I got bigger fish to fry. So, I mean, it's important to some, but honestly, it just does not even come across my radar at all now.
Right, right.
I think it's just a massive distraction period.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, where are you off to, David? Oh, go ahead, finish.
No, I'm off to meet my mother for dinner.
Nice.
Before she goes back to Florida. You and I did a show on Talk Network last night, which I believe will be airing tomorrow on Paris, and I think it came off very well once they get their recording straightened out. So I'm not. As soon as we know when that is, you can post it on your page if anybody wants to catch it live, or you can just catch the archive. But for anyone that's looking into Paris and is still on the fence, I've compiled a lot of some damning videos on Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole on the Paris Hoax tab on the top, because it's surpassing Sandy Hook in its ridiculousness.
I had somebody who, well, it's an ex-boyfriend, who contacted me and asked me what I thought of Paris, and of course I told them, and he told me, I don't know who you are, there's something wrong with you, people died, I don't want to talk to you ever again. So it's kind of good, because I didn't want to talk to him again anyway. So it's a great way to get rid of people.
Wow.
So yeah, and I know that I'm not the only one that happens to, and that happens to people who tell their friends and family members about Flat Earth, as well as any of these events, like Sandy Hook, Boston bombing, and the Paris event. People just are shocked and appalled that you don't care about other people and victims. And I do care about other people, probably more than many people do, and I care about victims. If there were victims, I'd care, but I don't see that. I think that potentially in the rush and panic of people running out of the Bataclan, somebody might have got hurt. It's possible, but there are people who have said that they didn't see anything happening. They just heard shots and started running. So to me, that could be easily done with recorded sounds of gunfire, or they could have somebody, an actor there with a gun or a sound effect of a gun, and nothing really happened when it came to people actually dying. Because everyone who actually is acting in this play is saying, blood was everywhere. We were all covered with blood. It just sounds so suspicious. So anyway, any last thought, David, before I kick you off?
Oh, great. I could talk about Paris, but this is a Flat Earth show, I believe.
That's right.
So I'm gonna let that roll, and I'm gonna kick myself off before you hang up on me. Bye.
Okay, bye. Nice that he's going to have dinner with his mom.
Yeah, I was getting tired of him anyway, so it was probably good he left.
He had to go. He had to go.
He did have to go.
He and I do a show on Talk Network, and it is available on my channel if you want to hear it. We discuss Flat Earth a lot. It's our favorite topic, but we discuss other hoaxes and things and events, international or national business crimes if you don't like the word hoax or you don't like the word false flag. And it's on my channel, and you can also find it on Talk Network, and the show is called Truth is Stranger Than Lies. All right, so we've done that stuff. I do want to thank Ted Toth, or Toth, I may be pronouncing it incorrectly, for sending me two fantastic things, one of which is something that you already have, Mark, and he had it around his house. He's not the manufacturer of them, but he had one extra, and he sent me a Flat Earth Frisbee, and I know you've got one somewhere.
Right. Here, is that going to work if I do that?
Your Frisbee? I don't know.
There it is. Do you see it?
No, I just see your back.
Do you see it in the background?
Yes, I do now.
Yeah.
I'm now going to take this Frisbee and throw it into my dining room. Okay. All right. I could see my mad skills there. Well, you couldn't, but you could hear them anyway. He also sent me something that he had around, and this is something that I've also ordered myself, and I will be receiving two in the mail, and it's the Flat Earth keychain from Flat Earth Rebel Outpost. You can go to their videos on YouTube, and they have a keychain spread awareness video, and I ordered two from them, and then Ted was kind enough to send me one he had laying around his house, kind of like the Frisbee, and so I can show it off. This is the front. This is how it lights up. Well, it's glaring, but it's really neat. And this is the side, and there's the back. So there we go. And so thank you to Ted for sending me those two things. And he also has some Flat Earth clocks that he's going to be sending to you and I as well. And I want to thank Flat Earth Rebel Outpost in advance for the two that I purchased from them. And David sent me, I feel like I've got so many nice things. David sent me this clock that he made, and you're going to be jealous, Mark.
I know what clock that is. That's a fine looking clock.
I haven't opened it yet. Oh, I'll put it like this. I haven't opened it yet.
Yeah,
but there it is.
I've included that clock in some of my slides now. It's really cool.
It's hard to get it in the picture.
And it is the Christmas gift of 2015 if you're a flat earther. Is find someone and give them a Flat Earth clock, or at the very least hang it on your own wall, buy it for yourself, and convert people because it's a conversation piece. People go, ooh, that's kind of a cool clock.
And Ted is sending us some different versions. So many people are coming out with great things.
Yeah.
Also here, I have this sent. We were speaking of this, and I know you can't see me because the monitor's behind you, Mark, and this is Fritz Lang's Woman in the Moon, Frau un Monde. I know I'm probably pronouncing that incorrectly, but it's something we spoke of last week, this DVD. So
yeah, from 1929, silent film about moon travel. How's that for cool?
Yeah, and here's the back. I don't know.
Very interesting movie.
Get this on Amazon.
Cinematics go, because that was 40 years before the Apollo program.
Right, and it seems like NASA decided to just basically use that as a template and create the entire space program from that movie.
That's pretty much it. I mean, 3-stage rockets in 1929 that make it to the moon with the capsule is incredible.
Yeah.
Seriously, watch that movie. I know it's silent, but it's still cool.
Yeah, you could play some Flat Earth music in the background from your playlist of Flat Earth songs and then watch the movie. It'd be great. We've got Q&A enabled, and we'll get to that in a moment. So you can ask any kind of question you want about Flat Earth, etc., or anything going on in the Flat Earth world, or anything about, well, pretty much anything. And we will attempt to answer it, or at least, you know, think about it, kind of a think tank going on. This is Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes, and this is episode number 38. What else do we need to discuss? Oh, I do want to address something that was posted pertaining to the V2 rockets. It was something that we briefly discussed last time we were together, Mark. And it's John LeBon was saying that V2 rockets, he doesn't believe that they're real, that they exist. And he said there's a number of researchers out there who now believe the V2 rocket program was at best hugely exaggerated and at worst entirely faked. And Clues Forum and Fakeologist would be two such locations where you can do your own research on that. I myself have an idea about nuclear bombs. We differ, Mark, on that. I think that they don't exist. I know we have big regular bombs that aren't nuclear, but nuclear power plants and submarines, those I believe do exist. Your opinion on the whole nuke thing is different than mine, which is totally fine. And the V2 thing, I haven't researched it enough. And John, the reason I'm mentioning John writing that on as a comment on a video is because I just wanted to, you know, have your opinion on the V2. I know you believe they exist, but what I don't know. What's your thoughts on it?
Oh, I believe they exist. And for me, the German war machine was, I mean, it's consistent with the advancements that the German war machine had. You got to remember, they had pretty much the best of everything, going from battleships to tanks to fighter planes to they developed the first assault weapon. Look at their heavy machine gun. It was so, the cyclic rate on that thing was so fast that men wouldn't even approach it if they heard it in the distance because they were afraid of being cut down. So having a rocket program with rudimentary navigation, yeah, why not? Why weren't they launching them at London? And because it wasn't that far away. I mean, it was just across the channel, and they had already taken everything up until that point. I'll take it one step further, and then they had the first cruise missiles. And the Germans were notorious for filming and documenting everything in great detail. So the films of the V2s going up, they looked pretty real. The cruise missiles that they launched at London, those looked pretty real. But more than that, fine. People say, "Oh, no, those are all faked." Fine. Then you're saying that everything else that they had was just wasn't consistent. Like their tank technology was way above board. You got to remember, the Blitzkrieg worked. You know, the lightning attacks that they did, and they took Europe. The Blitzkrieg worked because their weapons were so much better. I mean, everything from the soldier on the ground with his assault weapons to the tanks. I mean, heck, they had the first jet fighter planes. My grandfather watched one fly overhead in 1943. If they had jet fighter planes when nobody else even had the concept of it, is it really that much of a stretch that they had rockets that they figured out how to attach guidance systems on? No, I don't think so. I think it was fully consistent, and that they then they could have gotten them from another place. Not only do I think it was absolutely real, I think they probably cheated. I think they reverse engineered it from something else. Maybe they found pockets of an ancient civilization because they ramped up with their tech. Yeah, the Germans are great scientists and they're great engineers, but man, they ramped up fast. They were motivated, to be sure. You know, their economy was having a hard time of it, and they got a big motivational speaker, and it was rah, rah, go Germany, let's take over the world. And most people do not realize, and I'll end it on this, and I don't want to draw out the point too much. Most people don't realize that Germany had more or less won the war already. They had taken Europe. They had pounded Russia so back that Russia was relocating entire cities. They had almost broken Russia's back. once they had done that, all they had to do was polish off England, and then they had no intention. Look this up in the books. They had no intention of hitting America. They were going to annex America because there were so many German settlers over here, my family being one of them. They were going to fly dual flags, wait until America was good and ready and Germanized, and then boom, they were going to merge and then start taking over the world, one area at a time. And it was going to be brutal and horrible. And there's a great science fiction series, I can't remember the name of it, which we delved into the alternate history. In fact, there's a new series coming out just recently where Nazi Germany won the war, what the world would have been like. Let's face it, if Pearl Harbor, I'll end on this note, if Pearl Harbor isn't attacked, and by that I mean it isn't destroyed and hit hard, America doesn't enter the war, and if America doesn't enter the war, the Germans win. So the question is, was it amazingly good timing that Pearl Harbor was attacked, or did the powers be let it happen or encourage it to happen because they want Germany to be put down? Was the German World War, was that part of the Masonic experiment where they wanted to see how far it could go, and then it got out of hand, where Germany was actually too good at conquering? And once that happens, like, oh crap, once they're done with taking over the world, they're going to go after, everybody, including us. So anyway, that's my rant.
All right, fantastic. It's one of those things I need to look into more, and thanks to John LeBon for bringing that to my attention. We're going to hit Q&A after this one email that I received. Hello, Miss Steere. My name is James Death Rage.
That's a great name. That's a band name right there.
Yeah, it certainly is. And I hope he doesn't say at the very end of this letter, please don't read my name on the air, because I just did. No, he doesn't say that.
Put it in the beginning.
Yeah, exactly. Hello, Miss Steere. My name is James Death Rage. I just happened to come across your YouTube video for the first time with Mark Sargent when you two were wearing hats and you introduced your 3 cats. Great show. That was our last show together, Mark.
Yes, it was.
You gave your email, so I thought I'd respond. This is only the 2nd or 3rd email I've ever written, so please bear with me. About 2 months ago, my little brother, who I rarely see, came to visit, and we were just having casual talk, and he said, bro, I think the world is flat. I just smiled and said it wouldn't surprise me if it was. For years, I wondered about things like when I lived in West Palm Beach, Florida, they have the Okeechobee Waterway. It's a man-made canal that runs from the Atlantic Ocean to the Gulf of Mexico, about 150 miles right across the whole state. I got to thinking, how high is the arch in the middle of this thing according to the curve of the earth? The waterway is running from sea level to sea level, so the halfway point is 75 miles. I haven't done the math, but it's like 8 inches per mile squared, right? That's a lot of elevation. I thought something was amiss. There are other things that have made me wonder about God's amazing creation, but I don't want to take up too much of your time. I live in Washington State, about 60 miles from the Blue Mountain Range, and on a clear day, you can see the whole range from top to bottom, and Mount Adams and Mount Rainier, and they're well over 100 miles away. I could go on and on about other things. The Bible says to search out a matter to see if it's true, and I pretty much live by that. I'm pretty good at reading people, and I liked you in the first couple of minutes of listening to your program. Maybe a kindred spirit or something. I think it's cool. Blessed be, always search for the rarest of all things, truth, James. It's a nice letter.
Yeah.
It's another person seeing what's out there, what's really happening.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've got Q&A, and we're going to go right to it. But before I do, I have to ask you, Mark, an opinion on what do you think I should do about questions that may be coming in that may be considered negative about other flat earthers. Should I read them in hopes that people will understand these are just questions being asked by people, or should I skip over them because it would cause infighting, or at least perpetuate the infighting that's already existing in the flat earth community?
Skip them. If it was me, I mean, it's your show, of course, but I'd skip them just because, look, the infighting's not going to get anybody anywhere. Yes, there's not going to be 100% trust from any two parties, let alone all the different players that are out there. But do it amongst yourselves. Write the letters to each other, and ask, explain it. Like to me, if you think I'm a shill for whatever reason, write me a letter. Tell me why you think I'm a shill, and I will come back and say, is there anything I can do to reverse that with you? And maybe we can come to some sort of agreement. But no, picking on people, that doesn't solve anything.
All right, that's my thought, but I do want to honor those who have written the questions by just letting you know that I'm not skipping over your questions because I hate you or I'm a shill. I'm skipping over your questions because I don't want to make it appear as if I am part of the fighting and the name calling and the finger pointing and the shill thing. So there's
It's
some great questions I'd like the answer to myself. But if you wrote one of those sorts of questions, I don't blame you, but I can't bring them up on the show. I just don't think it's right.
There's a saying, and that is, sticks and stones may break your bones, but words, they do permanent damage. So don't do it.
And none of the people who wrote questions that I've read so far were saying bad things about other people. They were just drawing my attention to things that I might not know about. And I probably do know about them. I've just decided to ignore them because they don't make a difference to me.
Okay.
All right, Jordan Rains writes, why do flat earthers always focus on the south ice ring and never talk about the magnetic mountain at the north?
Because the south ice ring is way more interesting. The magnetic mountain concept, I kind of like that, because you have to have a very strong magnetic force in the center of the map, even stronger than what we thought it was, to make the compasses work accurately. Now, they still will work the same whether you're on a globe model or a sphere model. I'm sorry, did I say globe model or a flat model? But yeah, the magnetic mountain, love it. I think it's really cool. I don't know if it has to be a mountain, though. It could be just a magnetic force that's literally underground.
Could be a magnetic molehill.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Play on words. That's good. Yeah, nice.
Hey, no laughing, no joking in flat Earth. Remember.
Wait, why no joking?
You're not supposed to have fun.
We're not supposed to have fun, and yet we're not supposed to pick on people. Come on.
Yeah, right.
Come on. It's supposed to be a positive thing. So
it is a positive thing. It is. Anybody who's come to the realization of flat Earth has, without a doubt, felt so much better after the initial shock about life and about who they are and where they're living.
Agreed.
Matthew Eugene Rosa jokingly says, could David's view on Skype from his car be any creepier? Is there a globe believer tied up in the trunk? And you didn't see it, Mark, because the monitor's not facing you, but it was all dark because he was in his car driving. And,
probably.
He's in Connecticut, so it's darkish out.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, he makes some of his money through hostage negotiation, I'm pretty sure. Just saying.
All right. PAPI3D writes, hello, guys. I love your work. Something that I think Mark will find interesting. Look up Fatima, Miracle of the Sun. Over 100,000 people saw the sun do crazy things in approximately 1911. And I know you've talked about that. We both talked
mentioned that on Strange World 2 episodes ago, maybe 3, because somebody had sent it to me, and I don't know if it was you, but somebody had sent it to me in an email, and I read it on air, and I did some research on it. And I had actually forgotten about that, the Miracle of the Sun, where all these people apparently watched the sun do really, really interesting things in the sky. And they couldn't mistake it for anything else. I mean, it's not like there was a second sun in the sky. They said it was the sun. So, which kind of goes into the whole thing that I was saying, that not only is the sun a directional light source, but it could be an instanced light source as well. If you don't know what that is, it's the realization of an object in programming. Where you can customize the sun to do things per region, which was very possible. Again, if you have the technological ability to build this structure that we're in, what limits are there? Is there anything that we can't do? So.
And many will say that no technology built the plane we live on and the heavens above, that it was God.
Really?
But,
none?
Well, you can look at it as being a technology, even if you're believing God created it.
Well, yeah. I mean, to a tarantula in a terrarium, does he have any concept of the light bulb that's hanging above him, even though we consider it to be just a simple light bulb and not even state of the art? To him, it is beyond his comprehension. So what is this place to us? Just because we can't imagine how they did it, treat it no differently than the pharaohs and the pyramids. The Egyptians didn't build the pyramids, not without a really advanced help. I think the pharaohs showed up there. The pyramids were already there. They had no idea how they were built, which is why there's no single hieroglyph that actually shows the description of how they built. Oh yeah, we built it in 30 years. That's an awfully round number. Plus, it doesn't make any sense with the amount of blocks that were built. They had no idea how it was built. So instead of trying to fake it, trying to fake how it was built, they just ignored it entirely and they couldn't even come up with a good backstory to cover it. So would you think we can, there's some things we can't figure out yet. We're still working on it, but I think we'll get it eventually.
We have a question from Tim Osman, who I believe is a well-known troll, but I'm not quite sure.
That's not a good way to open up.
Sorry.
Tim, obviously a well-known jackass. But we'll read his question. That's
well, if
great.
you look up who Tim Osman really is, it'll make sense to you.
Is he bad?
Yeah, look him up.
Okay, what did he write? Why are you reading Tim Osman's thing? Did he say something was okay?
Well, he wrote this. Hi, I was wondering how the sun travels faster in its outer rings when it comes to seasons. Wouldn't this make more sense on the ball model? Can you explain what makes the sun travel faster as it gets further from the magnetic north?
What makes it travel faster?
Yes.
If the sun's an artificial orb that's only 30-something miles wide and suspended up there with something, you can make the sun do anything you want. Here, I'll use my little dial. Oh, the sun's doing 3 times its normal speed.
So it's magnetics, as many people have said, electromagnetic universe stuff going on.
Yeah, I mean, look at the, you want to use that, I'll go back to the biblical stuff. And you know me, I do not quote a lot of chapter and verse, where Joshua asked God to leave the sun up in the sky an extra day. How hard is that? Hit the pause button. The sun just stays there. So you know, there's harder questions than that. You know, if you want to try to throw a curveball at me, throw the blood moon, because the blood moon technically in a flat model should not even exist because there's no object between the sun and the moon on a flat model. There is no Earth sphere behind it. So what's causing the blood moon? Either a different object that we can't see, maybe a black sun is actually, you know, some sort of other transparent device is circling through the sky, or the moon is its own display system. Take your pick. But either way, it's artificial. I can't beat this into people's heads more often, especially lately. And that is, look, everything is artificial about this. Every single thing. And if you come up with a better argument, because I know people like to say, well, this process is natural and this process is natural. No, they're all artificial. They're all mechanical to some degree. And if you want to call it divine mechanics, fine, do that.
All right. For those who are unaware of the whole Tim Osman name, Osama bin Laden, Tim Osman, CIA, that kind of clears it up a bit. All right. Next is from Martin Liedke. Hey guys, thanks. You're an inspiration. Patricia, I thought that Mark would like to know, in my years in the Merchant Navy, we were always a day or two late arriving at our destination, and being out of reckoning was frequent. God bless from Wales. Yeah. Isn't that what Sean McCrary said? That sometimes they would arrive at port at a different time than they were scheduled to. Yeah. Sean McCrary, the United States Navy missile instructor, he said that was like his third point. The first part was there was no curvature. The second point, that there was no Coriolis effect. And the third point was that the maps and navigation, especially in the Southern Hemisphere, were wrong. That guy that you were just reading his thing, did he say in the Southern Hemisphere, or he just said when he was just all over the place? It didn't specify north or south? I just deleted it, and no worries. It doesn't really matter. The point is, yes, navigation. From what I have heard, the course corrections, especially with ships, are constant. That's all they do when they're out there. They constantly have to make course corrections, and yeah, showing up early or late, depending on where you are on the map, that's quite common. Up next, we've got a question or a statement actually from Secrets to be Revealed. Tell Mark he better watch today's videos about the sun from Flatwater Channel because he's digging a hole. Do you mean that the Flatwater Channel is digging a hole, or Mark is? I don't know. Re-ask the question. I have no idea what you mean. Re-ask the question. I mean, is he trying to debunk flat Earth, or is he trying to give me his theory on how the sun travels through the sky? I don't really know, and I doubt he's trying to debunk flat Earth for sure. Well, that's good. I mean, again, have him re-ask the question. Secrets to be revealed. Please re-ask the question. Thank you. And I'm a subscriber to that channel as well. Nick Fox says, oops, it disappeared from the screen. Oh, and by the way, Martin, who just asked the question, said both hemispheres / planes, you guys. So we were just talking about that. When the ships arrived. Oh, got it. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Martin. Nick Fox says, does any one of you believe mankind has found the tech to make weightlessness possible without being in space, in quotes? Not the comet plane either. I'm talking density being canceled out, making you float.
But yeah, and that's what Tiger Dan was kind of dealing with a while
Hmm.
ago, which was he says, is it possible that for some of the longer term shots, especially when it comes to the ISS, they have figured out a way to at least simulate anti-gravity? Maybe. I don't know what they're using. And if they did have that sort of ability, you wouldn't have to fake any of the shots. You wouldn't have to do any of the run throughs unless it's a really limited, like let's say you could simulate anti-gravity, but it was limited to like say a 25 foot by 25 foot pad. So you couldn't go travel a lot lengthwise. That's possible. Sure. Why not? There's some shots that seem pretty cool, but at the same time, I like to go with the simpler of the explanations, and that is Hollywood. Maybe some of their scenes they get to spend a little money. The budget they actually get to hire some decent Hollywood technicians and get this thing done right. Most of the time, though, it's low budget, and apparently nobody was noticing. So I could go with either on that one. But yeah, not a bad idea.
I think they've got to have something because some of the shots are longer than would be if there were the vomit comet. And Tiger Dan's analysis, which is on one of my previous Flat Earth and Other Hot Potato shows, can't remember the number right now, but you'll see Tiger Dan's face on the video. He gives a good idea, description, or theory as to what he thinks is really being done, involving some kind of a big I don't know, warehouse or studio of some sort, very large, in which they have perfected the art of weightlessness. Seems
Sure.
like they've got that going on. And there's so much
Sure.
technology that they have that we don't know about. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Alex Rubio says, hey, Patricia and Mark, when commenting on YouTube, I had a person saying that the Navy missile instructor, as we were speaking of, Sean McCrary, doesn't know what he's talking about regarding the gyro. What would you say to them?
I'd say, fine, then why is nobody contradicting him officially from any capacity? It wasn't just Sean. Sean was just the beginning of it all. The submarine electronics chief, who knows a little about gyros, he didn't contradict him. He said, oh, yeah, absolutely, he's right. The flight instructor from Iowa, who owns his own flight instruction school. And so now we're talking ship, submarine, and plane. Nobody's contradicting this. From a gyro standpoint, fine. Find me somebody that will come out and say that all these guys, professionals, long term. One retired. He was submarine his entire life. Sean's been in 10 years, and the flight instructor. Well, not only is he a pilot, but he also teaches people how to fly. You're telling me they're all absolutely 100% dead wrong on how the gyro works? Not buying it. And if that was the case, I'd also be getting a lot of emails that would immediately, I just get this deluge of emails saying, no, the gyro is wrong. And the way it's hooked up to the gimbal, it automatically adjusts ever so slightly when it's going over the plane. When it's going over, if it is a globe, as it starts to go over the curve, it's going to automatically adjust. No, what Sean's saying is if that actually happened, they would be notified of it. They would be able to tell when it actually changed, and it never ever does. So fine. If the gyro is wrong, come out on record, go make your own video and say that it's wrong. Here's why, and here's my experience going why. Because right now everything's stacking up on the side that the gyro and how it works is not how it is advertised.
All right. And also somebody mentioned, a person whose name I won't mention, a flat earther, and other people along with that flat earther were mentioning that Sean McCrary was, I'm trying to paraphrase the question without using names, was lying about the ships reaching port at different times than were scheduled, which was already mentioned earlier. So
why would he even bring that up? I didn't ask him about that. He just happened to throw that in there. On top of all the other things. So look at the stuff that Sean brought to light in one interview. He said that the curvature isn't there from any indications they've got from any instruments, and they're looking at stuff with technology we don't have. The Coriolis effect, that the part that affects ballistics, doesn't exist, and they're firing missiles at a great range, 60 times farther than any sniper minimum. And then he talked about the navigation, and he just happened to throw that in there. And we just thought that was really, really strange, and he didn't understand it either. You think he's just going to make up, oh yeah, by the way, we'd show up to port 2 days early? You think you just throw that in there and he was wrong every time? He's been in 10 years.
Well,
It's not
Martin
one.
Liedtke, who wrote earlier, had said pretty much the same thing. And he said
Yeah,
he was in the military. And he's got the channel, by the way, I subscribe to called Flat Earth British, really good one. He pretty much was saying the same thing.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's two people
yeah,
independently of each other.
yeah, exactly.
And, Martin is a flat earther as well. So
Yeah, and I think the submarine guy would probably bring it, except would also confirm that, except the submarine guy doesn't really go into many ports like ships do. They just kind of float underwater and stop every once in a while, and they don't come up that often.
So the real question is, why are flat earthers saying that Sean McCrary is lying when Sean McCrary's information is helping to prove flat earth? Or is that just a question that we don't even need to ask because we know
No.
the reason is people like to call names, point fingers,
Yeah, look, he's scoring very well. Anyone's got a problem with that, fine. Look at the thumbs up and thumbs down. They're scoring heavily in his favor. Plus, he also came out, proved his tour. I mean, he really stuck his neck out there. Put a video where he's flying into the Iwo Jima, the ship he's stationed on. He's listed his full name, his occupation, his rank, everything except for his serial number. And then he shows you the missile training room. That 45 seconds of gold where he actually just goes in there and who the heck has been inside a Sparrow missile system training room? Nobody. And that's pretty cool that he would actually write flat earth on a napkin and put that up on YouTube.
So Sean McCrary says there's no curve, the gyros prove flat earth, no Coriolis effect. And Martin Liedtke as well says he's got 10 years at sea, and he as well agrees that there's no curve. So anybody who wants to say those people are lying, I think they're just trying to stir up controversy.
Yeah, fine. And come out and say it from an official standpoint. Come out and say, look,
get somebody to say it if you believe it. I mean, hey, I'm open to anything. I really am. I'm open to things called facts and the ultimate fact being truth. So if someone's got real proof, instead of just saying it and saying, Mark, you're lying, or these people are lying, come out with somebody who's an expert. Doesn't mean they have to have a white lab coat or be a scientist, but somebody who knows. And we'll see. We'll all learn together if that's the case. Exactly. And Mark, you've said many times, if you're wrong about something, you'll change your mind and speak to that new knowledge that you've got.
Yeah. If I'm found dead wrong. Yeah, which is why when what's-his-face said, oh, you're digging yourself a hole, it's like, no, I'm not, because you're not going to be able to tell. Look, there's like 10 different theories on how the sun and the moon work in this new model, because we don't know, because we're not up there. And we don't have any, the civilian market does not have any ability to get up that high. So if you've got a model you think is 100% true and you think so, make a YouTube video on it and see if people agree with you. I don't think so, because right now there's no consensus on exactly how the sun and the moon work. We've got some great ideas out there, but no one's agreeing on them.
Right. And I like all of the ideas. I like all the different ideas of the plane on which we stand, enclosed worlds, or, firmaments, or combination, or, the plane going on forever, pocket theory, all of it. I mean, I resonate with one more than another, but I'm never going to say that's what it is and you better believe me. So there's no disinformation coming from this channel. It's just information. And then you do with it what you will, do your own research, come to your own conclusion, or just keep an open mind until we learn more. That's kind of the way I'm going. Yeah. I want to talk to everybody and all the different beliefs about the flat earth. Let's see. We have a statement from Allison Welch. I don't know what this is in response to. It's to you, Mark. They seem to have succeeded, Mark. I don't know who they is, but they seem to have succeeded, Mark. The flag is the EU one, which we haven't had a vote on apart to be in a common trading market in '73.
Did they vote on something today?
I don't know.
European Union flag?
Well, they were going to have with the seat of life. Maybe that's the flag that was being discussed.
Was that was that the European Union flag? She's got to specify a little more what it was.
Yeah, Allison, rephrase the question. But thank you for asking it. And once we have that done, we'll figure it out.
It's not like Nick, I've got every headline pumped into my head at all times.
Why not? Come on.
All right, get my wire and my drill.
Nick Fox says, will Mark and David be posting the debates on YouTube for Flat Earth if and when they occur? I don't want to miss them. Yes, indeed. I'm sure. In fact, maybe, Mark, right before you do your Stanton Friedman debate, I'm telling you what to do on your channel. Sorry. But it would be cool to do like a little mini, 20-second video saying when it's coming up. What do you think? Good idea? Bad idea?
Yeah. Well, I'll announce, remember, I've got a full month as of today Full month.
Yeah, but
yeah.
you know how fast that goes.
Well, no. I'm going to be. Well, I mean, I'm going to remind people every strange world. I'm going to remind everybody during the show, like here, and so don't worry. But yeah, I may do a video just before. But then again, I don't know if the Art Bell Network, if you have to pay to listen to it live.
No, I listened to the debate, so-called in quotes, with the Morgile and Art Bell, and I don't even want to mention who it was with, but yeah, I listened to that for free, just online. You can link in.
Let me plug it now then. The Art Bell Show is going to have me debating the greatest UFO researcher in the world, Stanton Friedman, and he's going to go against Flat Earth, which I think is very interesting because you'd think the really, really big UFO guy would be open-minded to most anything. But remember I said, this is your open-minded test. So that will be December 30th. And the guy that set that up was producer David Rubini, who did a really great job of getting this whole thing put together. Because I honestly thought after the Morgile thing, it was never going to happen again on that show. But here we are, and it's going to happen.
It's going to be exciting. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah.
All right. Nick, yes, stuff will be posted, and I will post it on my Facebook page, personal page, Patricia Steere, or Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes. So I'll be posting the time and the place, etc., for the one that's coming up on Wednesday with David and Fetzer, and the one that's coming up at the end of this coming month of December 2015 with Mark and Stanton. Yeah. All right. Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes, and it's episode 38, in case you were wondering. And just because I like saying it, as many have said.
There's nothing special about episode 38, though.
There's something special about every single Flat Earth video out there.
You know what? That's true.
And
there are a lot of Flat Earth videos out there.
How many? You and I were, on Skype last night looking at the numbers of videos. This is the boring stuff we do. We're on Skype, like, how many videos? How many? I'll log out and log back in and see how many there are.
Yeah.
How many did we see?
Over 1 point, depending. It's over 1 million now. Which is amazing. And part of it is because I think I told you, when YouTube reaches, once they start seeing trends, YouTube tries to get in on the action, like stock trades. So the system will automatically generate playlists based on trends, and you can tell if it's a YouTube machine driven playlist because it'll have a hashtag in front of it. So it'll like say hashtag Flat Earth Now or something like that, and it'll have a whole bunch of videos in it, and that's just YouTube jumping in on it, and just saying, oh yeah, okay, Flat Earth's trending. Let's start cashing in, because then they can pick any of the advertisers they want and monetize the hell out of it. But yeah, it has jumped up for people that don't think that this thing is catching on by any stretch. There was like, if the history, I think I've got the history right, it was like less than 60,000 back in January. Maybe even less than that. And as of right now, it's over 1 million, depending on when you hit the search engine, between 1.1 and 1.3 million, which is incredible. That's what, 1,600%, 1,700%. That's nuts when it comes to trending. It's great. No other conspiracy. It is eclipsing all of the conspiracies really combined this year, which is amazing and fantastic because it's resonating with people. You don't see that sort of traction unless it's not because people are hating it that it's generating so much buzz. It's because it's so polarizing, and it's still mostly positive, which is great.
Yeah, even the debunkers are loving the topic. It's giving them something to do.
Exactly. The debunkers have something to chew on. It's like, all right, I'm going to make fun of Flat Earth. In fact, I'm going to do like a 4-part series. Thank you very much for exposing all those followers. Like, you couldn't have helped us more than doing it, because you just converted some of them without even knowing it.
Yeah, very true. In fact, anytime anybody does an anti or negative video about anything, many people are going to go and not just watch your video. They're going to go to the video or the people that you're putting down. Yeah. And some of those people are going to be converted into fans/followers or believers in whatever it is that they're talking about. So doing debunking stuff or finger pointing stuff, I don't see the point, really.
Yeah. Oh, and to the people that, they say, oh, well, other people have more hits than you on this and that. And I'm going, well, there's a couple of reasons for that. One, I don't monetize anything. And what that means is that anybody that wants to make money off of my videos, especially the flat earth clues, they have, people that are out there, they're spreading the word, they're not even necessarily flat earth people, but they're greedy. I'm preying on the commonality of especially men in our civilization. I mean, one of my videos, this, they took all my clues, wrapped them up into one big package, a 2-hour movie, called it Hiding God, the Greatest Lie Ever. It just broke, I think, 700,000 hits. That's not even, I didn't even make that. It's just a mirror of my clues. And it's what, the #1 flat earth video? That's fantastic.
So if you would have monetized your videos, the hits would only have been on your channel.
Exactly.
People wanted to break the rules.
Yeah.
And that way your hits would have been much higher than they are now. That makes complete sense.
Yeah. Don't care.
Even my channel, some people take my videos and monetize them, place them elsewhere. So I'm like, okay, I don't care. Go right ahead. It's just spreading the news one way or the other.
Yeah. I mean, I love getting phone calls and emails saying, oh, yeah, I watched your movie. I'm going, what
movie?
What movie? What movie did I make? I mean, I'm technically on IMDb.
So am I.
As a movie producer and a television series producer.
I'm on as a television series for Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes.
Yeah.
How does that happen?
Somebody enters it for you. Somebody enters it for you.
Why?
It's not auto-generated. I don't know. Who put all my clues together into movies? I mean, Yoda, I think, did it first. Yoda's Conspiracy Channel, and then that channel got taken down for a couple copyright things. It was not me, though.
I think it's back up, maybe.
Well, Yoda's stuff is, but I don't think the original video of mine is the one that's had a couple 100,000 views. But anyway,
I've noticed that some people have taken your videos and your way of speaking and redid them. It's like a Mark Sargent. I don't know, great version.
Right. I know what you're saying. Well, yeah, like everything done in twos, right? Where Hollywood does everything in twos and imitations. Yeah, I think it's called Flat Earth Proofs. And he used slides and, covered some of my stuff. And hey,
there's no original idea under the sun. You didn't invent Flat Earth. And,
I didn't. So, hey, have at it. That's great. Let me know if you get to do any interviews. That's a little dig on my part.
All right, we've got from Pop by 3D. Looking into what else they could be hiding from us, do you think they could be hiding the actual population count of the world? And I've thought about this before. I asked this because of the Georgia Guidestones that claim that they need to maintain a world population of 500 million. And he puts the word maintain into quotes. Maintain it. So they're saying that's... there's no way for us really to know what the world population is.
No, unfortunately, one person is really limited on what they know. I mean, honestly, other than yourself, what do you really know anyway? And from a gaming standpoint, from a stimulation standpoint, there's going to be, if anyone doesn't game and they don't know what this is, look up NPCs. N as in Nancy, P as in Paul, C as in Charlie, which stand for non-player characters. And yeah, you could go to a big city and there could be a whole bunch of people walking around, but how many of them are actually real people? And how many of them are part of the system?
You're going to blow people's minds by saying that. And people are going to be like, everything is in a video game, Mark.
Well,
but
no.
Really, have you ever been somewhere, and I'm just speaking to those who are watching, and you felt that none of these people around me, I don't mean close friends, family members, but just in a large stadium or something, these people around me don't seem real. Maybe...
Yeah. You look at some people and you talk to them. It's like, man, did that person have anything going on upstairs at all? And you wonder if they were just drones, and why not? I mean, there's been all sorts of books written on this, and especially in science fiction journals. And The Matrix did touch on it, although in The Matrix, everyone was supposedly real. You don't know. So yeah, is the world population pumped up artificial? Is it just a number? Oh, hey, we broke 6 billion. Oh, hey, we broke 7 billion. Yeah, maybe, but you got to remember where the information is coming from. So, because eventually, population growth, you would expect the numbers to go up, unless, the numbers never ever did go up, and they just tell you that they go up. So, don't know.
All right. Q&A is open. If you'd like to ask a question, please feel free to go and click on the join the conversation link, and you'll get through, and you have to sign into Google Plus in order to do that. And That's Justin Bernard says, "Have you guys seen Math Power Lens Flat Earth Chemtrail video? What do you think?" I've seen it. And Mark
The
has
one
left
where
the
he's
building.
no, I was opening a window. It's kind of hot. The yeah, I have seen it, and where he's ranting and raving. Actually, it's not terrible. I like it when he's focused on stuff. My favorite actually video that he did recently was when he read mail, when he did mailbag. I thought that was great. He actually sat down, was real coherent. Again, people that don't know fully the Matt Boylan story, if you were told when you were 25 that you know the world wasn't what you thought it was, and you were really the only one on the internet that had any clue that what was going on, what would that do to you after 12 years? Going on 13, probably 13 now. I don't know, because I think he's turned 38. I don't know when his birthday is. I think he's 38 now. You know, he's going to have his up days and his down days. So just kind of bear with him. I think he still has a role to play. Don't know what it is, but I'm hoping he'll come around.
Well, I mean, he's come around. He's a flat earther. He's come around before I ever did. I mean, you mean come around to not being against a large percentage of people who are in the flat earth community?
Yeah, not thrashing around as much. You know, not. I mean, I understand the anger and you know that he's an actor and he kind of gets into his characters, but you know, I like when he sat down and when he did that girlfriend video where she sat down on the couch and he laid it out. And that was like 3 or 4 years ago now. I thought that was brilliant, and I thought his way of delivering it was very, very good. And I just wish he would do more of that, rather than you know wave the flag around and yell and.
Well,
I get it. It's his own style. Look, he's an artist, yeah. So I'm not gonna critique him too much. I'm not him.
Yeah, when I first found Flat Earth, your stuff was what I found first, and then I found Matt's as well as other people's, and you know, it all gave me a piece of the puzzle, and so have many other new videos by new people that come out every single day because we're all sort of trying to figure it out, and I appreciate anybody who makes Flat Earth videos, most of them anyway. So, Justin, thank you for that question. And then next from Lee Belts, Mark, can you speculate on what the foundation or the underpinning of the support system that would be in place to hold up Flat Earth? Great work you do.
The underpinning to hold up the floor? You mean the floor?
Well, like what's underneath Flat Earth? I get that question all the time.
What's underneath Flat Earth? It depends how far down you go.
I mean, it's all speculation, no matter what we do.
Well, it is because we can only go down 8 miles. That's the furthest we, at least publicly. I don't know if military has been able. You know, even military, I would think would have to nuke their way down, and that would be dicey at best. I think there's a lot of mechanical systems when you get past 8 miles, and I think other civilizations are probably living underneath us, because I think remnants of the previous versions of this place, because we should not be anywhere near arrogant enough to say that we're the first people to rent this apartment. I think the older civilizations have to hold up somewhere, and it's underneath us. So the mechanical processes, the power, the underwater conveyor system, the magma system, the jet stream system, I think a lot of it is below us. And not only that, but I think there's civilizations down there, advanced civilizations that have mastered the unified field engine that are also roaming around down there. How far down? Doesn't need much. Remember, try to remind people that our entire 95% of our entire civilization lives between sea level and 5,000 feet. That's a very, very narrow band. If you had a cavern that was even 2 miles high underneath us, you could store just about anybody you wanted down there. Or thing, for that matter.
Right. Okay. Next up, a statement that I think is pretty funny from Daniel Leather. Hello, Daniel. It's a good guy right there. Watch the latest episode of South Park called Sponsored Content. The show's plot reveals that some people in the community are actually advertisements unknowingly to themselves. I haven't seen it, but it sounds like what we were just talking about and what you were mentioning, that in a sort of video game scenario, there are some people who are non-persons. I don't know,
sure.
NP, well, what is it called?
And NPCs, non-player characters. And actually, to that effect, look at the Truman Show, where he would be pinned up against advertising billboards and make sure that he stopped in front of things. Wherever he stopped during his daily routine, there was advertising around him. And there were people in there. Their whole purpose was to do advertising. Now, they knew about it, of course. But the South Park episode, you think that South Park episode's good, watch, and I can't remember what season it is, but watch the episode called Earth Canceled, which is really weird, where that was done a couple of years ago. Earth Canceled, where South Park treats the Earth like they treat it like a globe, of course, but they treat it like the entire planet is a reality show for aliens, for advanced civilizations that are spinning around us, and that once we figured out what it was, once we figured out we were in a reality show, they tried to cancel Earth, basically shut the whole thing down and start over. We'll expand that to an enclosed world, a flat model, and
Wow.
Yeah, I know, right?
When
I know.
Earth's canceled, do we get to be in reruns though?
In syndication, yeah, it's a good one because I had a friend. He wasn't even a flat earther. He brought it to me because he was a big South Park fan, and he says, "Oh yeah, take a look at this." And I go, why has nobody else sent this to me? Nobody else has mentioned this. So yeah, look up Earth Canceled. It's brilliant.
All right, it's Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes. Q&A is open. Join us. Ask a question. There's always too many questions for me to get to, but we're trying to do our best. Nick asks, is there any footage of is there any footage of the Antarctica Defense Force in the flesh or pictures? If I am remembering correctly, didn't some explorer run into them, and was that filmed? It's a great question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say it's a great question. I don't know.
Jarl Yandahoy supposedly ran into them when he was down there. There was some F-16 footage of pilots flying, a squadron flying along the Antarctic coast recently. You could look that up. I got an email about a month ago from a woman who says her boyfriend was he was a fighter pilot in the Antarctic Defense Force. So yeah, I believe it's out there. If you look hard enough, you should be able to find something along those lines. And but you're not going to get much. Remember, it's a multinational navy. That is the whole point. So how many people are actually going to get shots at these guys? But yeah, if anyone's listening, if you can find something more than what I just mentioned, bring it out because I'd love to see it.
I've had people arguing with me on Facebook or, in my comment section of some of my videos pertaining to Antarctica, and how myself and other guests, and perhaps you and I, have in passing discussed how the Antarctic Treaty exists, but it doesn't actually specify that you can't go there. And we've said, of course, yes, you can go there, but it's only in select areas, and you will generally need a guide and that sort of thing. That they will argue and say, well, this area is shut off for scientific research. And they believe indeed that scientific research is being done and it's very important. But that's since like 1959, I think, when the treaty was signed. Yeah. And it's a whole continent. Why? I mean, I'm playing the devil's advocate, but why would a whole continent be used for scientific research? Question A. Question B is, what kind of scientific research? And I did some investigation into that, and it was some fossils being found, which of course just prove that we live on a ball and there was evolution in some way, and also some microbes that were found in water, but that's since 1959. How is it benefiting mankind for the area to be completely shut off for everyone to go there unless it's in that small area with a guide? What research is being done? Show me the research. Mark, what do you think?
Yeah, absolutely true. The equivalent would be, Antarctica is slightly bigger, if you believe the globe model, slightly bigger than Australia. Would you shut off the entire continent of Australia for 5,000 scientists? Australia is huge. It's monstrous. 5,000 people is nothing. It's not even a small town by American standards. 5,000 people can't roam around something like that big. You're sealing it off because you don't want anyone anywhere near it. Don't talk to me about the purity of snow and doing core samples and ice. It just doesn't hold water, so to speak. The other thing would be where they were saying, well, you know, people can go there. It's like, yeah, people can go there, because you can't. In this case, life imitates life, and that is, the fence has to be invisible, otherwise you draw attention to the fence. So I give you an example would be Area 51. Area 51, yeah, you can drive around Nevada all you want, but you get to this point and it says you can't go past there. It doesn't tell you why you can't go past there. It just says you can't go past there, and lethal force is authorized in the United States government. But yet the government still denies that a base even exists past that point. So it's this weird paradox where they say, oh, yeah, you can't go past there, you know, and this is, you know, no trespassing, you know, government property. Was there a government base in there? No, there isn't. Why can't we go past there? You just can't. You have to, it's a whole different tack when you're dealing with Antarctica, and that is you can't draw attention to the fence, because they learn from their mistakes. I'll give them that. You can't draw attention to the fence because people will just keep asking about it. So instead, you just kind of steer them away. It's like, well, what are you doing out in Antarctica? Oh, we're just thinking of doing exploration. Okay, fine. Here's permits you have to fill out, A, B, C, and D. Countries that have to prove it, A, B, C, and D. Then when you go, you're going to have an escort. You're going to be watched at all times just to make sure you're going where you say you're going. And there's only certain places you can go. So no, they're not restricting you from going there at all. They're just restricting. They're tightly controlling your movements, which is why I didn't really even go into that. And the clue is what I said was, tell me why a single corporation, no matter how much lobbying money they have, cannot get in there or even talk about it. That's the bigger question, because that goes, we all know that if you have enough lobbying money, you could get into national parks. You can get into your backyard. You can get into anywhere.
From Antarctica Online, some of the things that they have been actually working on there in Antarctica since 1959 include ozone destruction, talking earlier about the Global Warming Summit in Paris, so kind of tied in. Wood and moss samples in glacial till, calling into question the age of the Antarctic ice cap, bioactive and potentially anti-tumor chemicals in sponges, and a mysterious freshwater lake, Lake Vostok, which is hidden under 2 miles of ice.
Fantastic. So, yeah.
Those are the things they're doing. Do they need a whole continent for that?
Well, not only that, but were they doing that in 1959? No, of course they weren't. People forget that the environmental treaty and all the environmental stuff we've been doing has not been that long ago. What did I say? Was it Greenpeace wasn't formed until 1972 or 1971? Greenpeace didn't even exist. Wasn't even the first couple tie-dye shirts and some rafts, you know, and they were going after whaling ships. They could have cared less about anything else. So no, 1915. Now we can sort of figure, you know, we can sort of justify some of the stuff that's going on in Antarctica, maybe. But in 1959, nobody had a care in the world about anything in 1959. It was the 50s. It was burgers and cheap gas and unlimited potential. The war was over. Everybody was, you know, gung-ho. The Cold War hadn't even, I mean, the Cold War was, it was kind of ramping up, but that really didn't even start until after Operation Deep Freeze, which is a whole other thing for another time.
And the Cold War is not even exactly the way it's been portrayed either.
No, the Cold War was an utter fake. It was based on this. Just about every conspiracy has to be reintroduced into our consciousness, because they're all, in fact, the Cold War has now become a conspiracy because of this. Because now it's like, the Cold War didn't actually happen. It was never going to happen. Russia and America were never going to duke it out. We were too busy trying to figure out how to hide the world.
And it is a conspiracy, but people don't like the word conspiracy, because people who are anti-conspiracy throw that in the face of those who are interested in delving into conspiracies and call you a conspiracy theorist, tinfoil hat wearer. Yeah. But I mean, there's other terms. I've been starting to try to use international business crime, because it really is a business crime, and international or national when it's something that's happening on a smaller scale here in the United States. But Still, the word conspiracy, we need to take the word back. It's not a negative. It's people planning on doing things in secret that are going to hurt others, and that's what's going on.
I mean, the word's never going to go away, because of course it's used in law enforcement all the time. Conspiracy is a charge in law enforcement. You can be accused and convicted of conspiracy, which is really just doing what your original crime was. So like, let's say you were building meth, bathtub meth, right? But if you were the ringleader that had like 4 or 5 people that were helping you make bathtub meth, then you get a separate, it's like a booster charge to the original. So you can get hit for manufacturing drugs, blah, 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 and conspiracy to manufacture drugs, which means you were bringing other people involved. That carries a whole separate charge.
All right, we've learned about meth here on Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes, because this is a show where
I was pre-law.
I didn't know that about you.
Wasn't pre-law.
Oh, okay.
Totally. Okay. That's an Animal House joke. Yeah, every time something came up and he said, "Oh yeah, it was pre-law. Oh yeah, it was pre-med. Weren't you pre-law?" Well, yeah.
Sorry, that went right.
Anything you can declare yourself to be pre-anything, and because you haven't majored in it.
Got it. I missed that joke. Sorry.
That's right.
It was a good one.
It's a movie joke, which why I threw it at you, because I knew you wouldn't get it.
Well, I've got this, and you don't. From
what is it? So. Oh, from no, I've got it on my machine.
Oh, okay.
Behind me. I had it long before you. There, kitten cakes.
All right. On to GCR Chicago, and this question, I hope it's a hard one for you, Mark. To get you back.
Bring it on.
Right. Hi, I've been looking at this. When North and South Pole sphere is transformed or projected into a flat plane, North becomes a ring at the outside and South moves to the center. Could it be that our terms are backward regarding the poles? If so, the vortex in the South center thinks.
Is he saying that Antarctica is at the center?
Seems like it.
If no offense.
I don't understand the question.
Well, you remember Zibron's map?
Yes, I mean
that's
no.
Zibron says that Antarctica is at the center and everything else loops around the outside. If that's what he's talking about, look, nothing against Zibron. I like the way he speaks and I love his direct approach to things. I do not follow that map though. I can't. It's I follow the AE map, and he's entitled to his own opinion. But no, I think the polls are I think the AE map is correct, and if it wasn't, the UN flag wouldn't be what it is now. The UN flag is the AE map. You gotta go with what the authority is going with. That's what you put out in 1946, and I think they knew.
And they're using that for things like shipping and the like anyway.
Oh, yeah. There's multiple organizations that use it, but the UN is probably the most high profile.
But we don't have an exact map. We don't have an exact measurement of continents.
Not to scale, no.
Right, not to scale. So we are somewhat guessing, but we're using the AE map as a base for our guesstimates at this point. So GCR Chicago, I think we've kind of answered that question. Let's see. Something from Tim Osmond, who I said was a troll earlier, who says, "Hello, Patricia Lynn. My name is Tim Osmond, and I'm a fellow vegan, 28, Denver, Colorado. I like older women. I'm a great cook.
You're going to read this?
If you'd like to come and live in my condo here in Denver, you should just pack up and head out." Told you he was a troll. He's a pleasant troll, though.
Really?
He's pleasant.
I guess if you.
I mean, that's pleasant. Trust me, I've seen web trolls right. And
in this episode, Patricia gets hit on yet again.
Jordan Rains writes, "When the truth about the flat Earth finally comes out to the masses, do you think the controlling elite will be hanging from lampposts?"
No.
No.
And here's why.
That's what the underground bunkers are for.
Yeah. They'll do one of two things. Yeah, if it comes out in a peaceful manner, people will run for the hills, the authority, because there'll be a lot of finger pointing, no question. Obviously, the sacrificial lamb will be NASA, has to be, because they were fabricated from minute one. With the sole purpose of militarizing space and keeping this thing hidden. But the class action lawsuit against NASA would take a long time. And at the highest level, there's going to be people finger pointing. So I don't think people are being hanging from the rafters, because if I was the authority, you have a big choice. It's like, okay, come clean, pay the penalty and move on and maybe start a new golden age. But if you want to keep your power, or at least keep the remnants of it, you you come up with an event that's so big that it makes flat Earth look like small potatoes, or it dovetails flat Earth into it, like a fake Planet X event, like a fake staged alien invasion, something like that, to where people don't have the time to go after, grab their pitchforks and torches and just start running through the streets looking for people to lynch. It's just not going to happen. I can't see that happening.
Aren't we better than that?
We are better than that, but we don't know it yet.
Yeah, I think there's many factions of us who not only don't know it, but don't act it.
We're not unified because we're not unified. We still think we're on this little tiny speck of rock spinning through space and we're insignificant. This changes all that. This makes us one big community, one big family where, not everybody's going to get along, but we're not going to just start killing each other on a regular basis. What would that do? I mean, if you're all in the same boat, literally, are you really going to go to war? And I talked about that in the clues. So yeah, we are better than that. We just have to be shown the way.
This is from Aaron Jacob Willman, who says, how could anyone possibly convince you that flat Earth is wrong if everyone who isn't already a flat earther is branded a shill? I don't think people who aren't flat earthers are branded shills. They're branded, if anything at all, globe earthers or globe heads.
No, I got you.
Or is this question, I'm not understanding.
No, I know where she's going with this. Where she's saying that anybody that comes out
it's
in
a
the
guy,
flat.
Aaron.
I'm sorry. What? That's one of those names. You can go either way with that.
Maybe, yeah.
But
like Mark.
Well, no, because I knew an Aaron. It was a woman who was ER.
Oh, that's true. ER. This is A.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Anyway, so everybody that comes out that tries to go against this, of course, the flat earthers are going to sometimes label them shills because they, it's that, if you're still ignorant after looking at the flat earth, you must be a shill. Can you convince somebody? All right, let's take the shill thing out of the equation. I have been looking.
I can't wait till that word just disappears off the face of the earth, if it ever does.
It's too easy. It's one syllable. It's too easy to use, and that's why it's been thrown around so much, because so many people do not know what it means. Because disinformation agent is too many syllables.
Well, okay, before Flat Earth, you'd been involved in exploring different conspiracies. I was looking into them casually, but you were looking into them hardcore. Was the word shill thrown around in the other conspiracy areas like 9/11 and Sandy Hook and all of that as much as it is in Flat Earth today?
Not as much as this is, no. Disinfo agent was usually the abbreviation used, or disinfo.
Right.
3 syllables, but now it's taken down to shill, which is ridiculous. Oh, anyway, so back to Aaron's question, which is, can somebody convince me that the globe or Earth exists? I don't treat anybody like a shill. When I have somebody come at me that's still, globalist, a globe head, a spheroidist, whatever, those people I don't see them as shills. I just look at them, it's like, look, bring me the proof. I've been waiting for the proof. Everybody's been waiting for the proof. Here's the problem. There is no magic bullet to bring down flat Earth, which is why it just keeps growing and growing and growing. The astrophysicists, who are the only guys that have any chance of doing anything in this, are so scared about putting their reputation on the line and being published, with those precious publications of theirs, and plus their only weapon is math, and math is not going to get the common denominator out there. So if anyone's got something that can prove the globe, bring it out there. I've heard pretty much, because we're working on month 10, which is coming up in another 2 weeks for me. It's like the flat Earth is kind of like cement in that regards, and that is the longer you wait, the harder it gets, to where now there are so many people involved, and we've heard the question so many times that I'm kind of getting terse with people because I'm waiting for a new question, and I haven't heard one in a while now. So when I get up against Stanton, it's like, let's see, I only heard that week 3, heard that one week 5, heard that one month 3. We've heard them all at this point. There is no magic bullet to take it down. Only NASA can do it. If they want to try to fake something, and even then, the question will become, let's say they do a beautiful shot of the Earth rotating from space and astronauts spinning all around and all the camera footage and all the angles are correct and the constellations are correct. At that point, even if they created something like that, people will come back and say, so what took you so long?
Yeah. What about the other stuff that you've been
Yeah,
doing for all these years?
why? Oh, like that thing I sent you today. The that story. Remember how we were saying that a story comes out now on NASA every single day to try to
Oh,
reinforce?
yes. Oh, tell
You
this
saw that?
story. I forgot. I was
Oh
going to bring
God.
this up earlier.
So I think it was an independent researcher. If hopefully I get the college right, because it's not in front of me. It from John Hopkins. Supposedly, what said that? Oh yeah, by the way, this specific moon crater. This is where one of the boosters landed from the Apollo program. You know, one of our boosters actually landed and made this crater. Okay, first off, when you're looking at the picture, it looks like any other crater on the moon. Second, he got the data from NASA. So he was looking, because NASA's, again, they're the gatekeepers. So he was looking through all this footage, and you know what happened, right? Somebody at NASA probably tipped him. It's like, oh yeah, by the way, if you look in quadrant 7-8L, you know, you might see something, you know, we think that's where one of the things crashed, one of our booster rockets, right?
I'm going to show right now on my phone if you want to look. Oh, well, you can't look, but everyone else can look at the picture that we're talking about.
Oh, okay.
So here it is right here. That right there. That's proof, baby.
Yeah,
Right
and
there.
the opening line, what was the opening line on that article? The opening line was, so you still don't think the moon missions happened?
It's
or
the
something?
crash site of Apollo 16's rocket booster has been spotted on the moon. Still need proof that humans went to the moon?
Yeah.
12.6K people have shared this thing.
Yeah.
And you know,
And
most of them are not sharing it the way we're sharing it.
No, it's not that much by comparison. So no, it's just another story. NASA's only real weapon is to release stuff every single day. Every single day they're going to release a story saying that, you know, oh, we found doing something on Saturn. Oh yeah, the Mars thing. Oh, how many times? Like the commercial you played in the very beginning. I'm going to play the video version on my show tomorrow, or not on the show, but during the YouTube version of it, which is NASA came out and said, and it's a fairly clever move, where they said that, oh yeah, by the way, head of NASA comes out and says, 30-second spot, we're recruiting for NASA. When anybody wants to join NASA, come on, join on up. Well, that just helps the legitimacy of it, because it's like, well, if they're inviting anybody to be NASA, they've got to be legit, because like if I decide to be on NASA, I'd tell the world if I found something that was screwy. It's like, no. They're taking applications for NASA. You can send in your application. Doesn't mean they're going to pick you, because they only pick military people. You have any doubt on that? Look it up in the records. Almost all of the astronauts over the years have all been military.
And some have been Masons in the past as well.
Well, all of them are Masons to a certain degree, but
are they even the ones that are on the ISS now? Are they Masons?
Oh, probably. I mean, they don't have to be, but if you're going to keep the whole Masonic oath thing, the rumor was that to even be part of the Apollo program, you had to you were immediately like moved up the degrees. You were even like a crash course, and they paid all the fees for you, and you became like a 32nd degree, because it was all about keeping secrets. Do the new astronauts have to be? Maybe. Somebody find me a shirt or a logo or some ring they were wearing or something. I don't know if they even care anymore with the ISS people, because they're so pedestrian by comparison.
They are, and even what they wear is pedestrian. The khakis and the polo shirts.
Polo shirts and socks.
It's like, oh, come on, can you get any more original? The article, if anybody wants to look it up, that we're talking about with the crash site of Apollo 16 found, can be found at many different venues. It's on my Facebook page, Patricia Steere, and it's sciencealert.com is where I found it.
Let me add one more thing, and that is, you're telling me an empty aluminum fuel canister, empty, mind you, because it was already used up on the way there, hitting the moon, supposedly, what is it, 1/6 Earth gravity, something to that effect, 1/5, 1/6, I think it's 1/6. Hits, right? So it's 1/6 the weight it's supposed to be. Just a free fall speed. It's hitting so fast that it creates a crater. No, not it's aluminum. It's not even made out of rock, and it created that crater. Nah.
And by the way, how did something aluminum stand the test of the thermosphere and the rest of the travel? It would have just melted.
Yeah, it's just
really. There's so many levels of this that are hilarious.
It's just another story they put out there. The most hilarious part for me was that they waited 44 years before they found it.
Right.
It's like, oh yeah, what other thing are you going to come up with after 44? Oh wait, the second blue marble shot of Earth. That was 43 years.
Well, this is, as you mentioned earlier, Johns Hopkins University. The guy's a physicist. He is an expert at, quote, locating lost hardware on extraterrestrial surfaces.
And it took him 44 years Do it. I
Where's the
guarantee.
flag? Show us the
No,
flag.
that's got so much. Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Mm.
ridiculous the timing on that.
Funny because I go right here to Q&A and David Burr says, "Where's the rover?"
Yeah,
Exactly,
where's the
David.
frickin' rover? Again, I'll throw one more out just for the heck of it, and that
I
is
know where it is. It's a little small tiny toy, radio operated. Somebody's got. Their kids probably played with it in the 70s.
if you believe we're on the moon, then you've got to believe that the story that China has landed a rover on the moon, similar to the Mars rover,
But it will
that
go nowhere near our site where we landed.
that will go nowhere near the
Of
Sea of
course not.
Tranquility, and that it's been running around since 2013. And there's nothing to see except in the Sea of Tranquility if you believe that we went there. In fact, I'll throw out one last thing, and that was when I was talking to Interorbital on my conference call with a German guy recently, where they mentioned that when they were talking to NASA, because they had all the space people in like one area when they were talking to all the companies like SpaceX and Virgin Galactic and all the people that wanted to do things. The NASA was real specific about saying, "Oh, by the way, don't ever, don't make sure you go out of your way to not go into the Sea of Tranquility." That's like, why would you say that? Why even bring that up? So,
It's
unless,
our area, and they better stay away.
yeah, stay away from
What
what
other
the American.
reason? Is it the
Yeah,
Jets and the Sharks? I mean,
there's nothing. The Jets and really. You're gonna do a West Side Story reference? That's good.
Yes, yes.
That's good.
How
That
to throw in a movie reference. Try
you
to
don't
keep up
throw
with
in a
you.
lot of movie.
No, but is it don't come to our area of town.
Yeah,
China.
yeah. Look, there's nothing up there. There people we never went there. The moon. Oh, I don't even want to get into the moon missions. It's just there's too many documentaries, good documentaries that.
Oh, yes.
Uh,
moon mission documentaries are what led me to find Flat Earth Clues, which led me to be doing this show right now.
at the bottom of that article, if you scroll down to the bottom of that article, it just reminded me of it. You'll see the stabilized moon footage, right?
I'll find it again.
So the stabilized moon footage, I think either NASA or a private party stabilized it because it was really the guy that was filming the moon buggy with the camera just couldn't keep it in frickin' frame. So what's interesting about that is you watch it, it looks kind of cool, right? But if you watch the double speed version of it, or if you're on YouTube, just speed up that one 2x if you can, it looks like a normal car just driving, a moon buggy, just driving around some sand.
There's a great video, and I may have it wrong, but I think it's called Spooky Rover or Spooky Lunar Rover. They set it to the song Spooky. Sorry for the singing.
Yeah, the Lunar Rover is one of those weird mysteries. Again, they don't talk about. One is, how did they put it together? There isn't a single picture of them putting that thing together. It was like, oh yeah, here it is on the side of the limb. Here it is working.
And what are the tires made out of? Or what are the
tires made out of that can withstand unbelievable cold and unbelievable heat at the same time?
And if they have those, why are they not in my car right now?
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah. It's just. Sorry. I just get. There's too many things that I just wish. Unfortunately, I may never be able to see an astrophysicist because, and even if I do, they're going to be a lost cause to me. Because they've got too much under their belts. They're not. Although when they go home, I feel bad because they're probably gonna have that moment where they'll sit there with like a bottle of something and go,
probably vodka.
You probably vodka and go, nah, couldn't be. Glug glug glug. It's like nah. And they'll get really drunk and they'll be like, nah, I'm just gonna sleep it off. Everything will be fine in the morning. And it just
guess what? It won't be. It'll still be flat when you wake up.
It'll still be flat indeed. So.
Kevin Jacobs says, did you ever consider the possibility that whenever NASA refers to the Van Allen radiation belts, that it might possibly be the actual firmament, and the firmament itself is what gives off the radiation?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have so many thoughts on the Van Allen radiation belts. It was a NASA employee who, quote unquote, discovered them.
Yeah, Van Allen
went to the moon, supposedly went to the moon. And I've often thought that they didn't even exist at all, and they were going to use them as a reason why we couldn't live up to what Kennedy had promised, that we're going to go to the moon. But then somehow they decided to forget that they said that and then go to the moon and forget the Van Allen radiation belts had been discovered.
Yeah, and I read up on that because I wanted to look up exactly what the NASA justification was for it. It's like, okay, you said they were super deadly, but you're still going through them. How did you solve that, right? And they said, well, we solved it by going real fast. That was it. That's their answer. Really? Floor it? That's your answer? Just hit the gas and go? Ignore it. If we go through fast enough, it won't contaminate us. Okay, there's a couple problems there.
Yeah.
One is if you used up all that speed going to the moon, right, going real fast, then how did you go real fast coming back towards Earth? What generated all the speed then? Because remember, you also got to slow down once you get to Earth, because you got to figure out how you're going to maneuver to get back into the atmosphere and all that fun stuff, right? But the other part, which is even bigger, is the Orion program, which came out just last year in that video. They put it on television. NASA, bright people. Kelly Smith, so glad you're part of that project. Seriously.
Yeah, he helped us a lot.
No, the what?
Kelly Smith helped the Flat Earth world a lot, just by talking about the fact that they're still trying to figure out how to get through the Van Allen radiation belt successfully with the Mars Orion program.
Yeah, we're gonna send up unmanned capsules first, because we still haven't figured out how to deal with the Van Allen radiation belts. It's like, what? What are we talking about? You dealt back in the 60s. You completely solved that. You did 10 missions through it. Nobody got sick. Nobody died. And the capsules were perfectly clean. The whole idea was you just floored it. Why aren't you just flooring it now?
Well, didn't the astronauts say that they didn't know about the Van Allen radiation belts because they weren't discovered yet? That's why they didn't.
Yeah, some of them actually said that, which is ridiculous. It's like, what?
What
Van
you
Allen,
don't know won't hurt you.
Yeah, ignorance. No, yeah. I didn't know that bank robbery was illegal. Does that mean I'm off the hook? What?
Shooting myself in the head with a gun? I didn't think that would hurt at all. Okay.
The Van Allen belts, that is a question that no astrophysicist is going to be able to come up with.
But back to Kevin Jacobs, could it be the firmament? I mean,
could it be giving off radiation? Sure, it could.
If they exist at all, that could be the firmament, or the firmament could be something completely different if they don't exist.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, yes. I like it. And you're not the first person to mention that to me. There's been other people that have also said the same thing. I think the Van Allen belts, the short version is, had a ring of truth in it, and they couldn't help themselves. And they said, rather than to say, hey, there's a solid structure up there, they said, oh yeah, there's some really lethal bands of radiation. It's danger. Don't go up there. And all the private parties like McDonnell Douglas or Lockheed Martin or Boeing or General Dynamics, they all said the same thing. We won't go up there. Let NASA handle it. They're the scientists.
This is Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes, and we're on episode number 38, and that's Mark Sargent. I'm Patricia Steere.
There's
Q&A
me.
is going on.
See? Me.
Yeah. You
Sargent.
got your Sargent. What are you going to do with that plate from your old Colorado license situation?
I don't know. Give it to someone I care about, maybe.
All right.
We'll see. But yeah, it's not. It's my new one's going to be Flat Earth related. And remember, I've had a Sargent plate either in Washington or Colorado for 20 years.
And now you're going.
Now I'm changing.
Full
That's
Flat Earth.
I'm going full Flat Earth. Yeah, and I'm doing it because I feel that strongly about it. It's not just conviction anymore for me.
I agree.
It is because it's bigger than me. It's bigger than all of us. It is the world changer. And so what is this?
I've got a vegan personalized plate on my vehicle, and I'm going to change to a Flat Earth plate. And it's not because you were. It's just something we started talking about, and we both were thinking that. And my reason is that it's Flat Earth is bigger than veganism to me, because veganism is my thing. Your results may vary, because it's covered on the Flat Earth, in that something you've brought up before. Perhaps if we all become aware of Flat Earth and become more united, there will be more care taken of animals as well as humans. So,
agreed.
So I'm not giving up veganism by changing my plate to Flat Earth, but I think I might, I know it's just a personalized plate on the car. I know it's not a world-shaking move to have that there, but people do see those sorts of things, and it's a way to spread awareness, like I showed earlier, the Flat Earth Rebel Outpost keychain that they've got, or the Frisbee, or Flat Earth t-shirts, or Flat Earth music, or videos, books, whatever it is, just another way to spread awareness. And hey, I'm all for that whenever possible.
Yeah.
We've got a half hour left or so on the show. So letting you know, Mark, Bozidar Durovic says, hello, Mark and Patricia. Love the Masonic Flat Earth show Mark recently did. I loved it too. And that's on talknetwork.com, but it's now available to view on your channel. And I listened to it live on Truth Frequency Radio.
Frequency Radio.
Real people. My network.
Real radio.
Confused. Yeah. but it's now available on your channel, and I listened to it live on Truth Frequency Radio, TFR. But you've added to the video that you put up on your channel of your and Jonathan's show an aspect of showing the real Masonic tracing boards and other sorts of stuff to look at. So it's fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
So continuing with this question, love the Masonic Flat Earth show Mark recently did, and I'd love to hear more about that. But my question this time is this: what are your thoughts about the sort of recent City in the Sky mirage in China?
That was really, really cool, and which reminds me of it, because that's not even the first city mirage. The first one was on that river, and people have been trying to explain that for the last few years, where there was a city that appeared in the fog in the middle of a river, a big river in China. And I thought that was interesting. I wonder if that was like the alpha test and the city in the sky was a beta test. Because yeah, if you can project a city in the sky, and if that picture was actually real, or the video, and it wasn't photoshopped, I got to take a look at that one again when I get a chance.
So are they explaining it, the authority figures, or the powers that should not be in China and elsewhere, that it's a superior massage, a superior
massage? Is that with a happy ending or not with a happy ending?
Oh, yeah. Well, they're trying to massage our consciousness into believing lies. So that's what I meant. No, that's not what I meant. Superior mirage. Are they explaining it away that way? Or
see, I'm sorry. I'm stuck with the superior massage. That's great. No, I don't think they're actually addressing it at all. Because how would you explain that? It's not like it was a cityscape that we've ever seen before. It was an amazing projection, if that's real. But I kind of buy it because, well, one, I buy a lot of things anyway. But I kind of
that fills us with a lot of confidence, Mark.
Well, no. I mean, I give everything a chance. Remember, trust everyone but count your change type of thing.
Yeah, okay. I'm the same way. I give everything a chance.
I give everything a chance. The V2 rockets. Yeah, I'm on board with that. But the thing in the sky, I would like to think it's real, because if you're going to stage a bigger event than that, and that's a great start if you can do a whole city in a sky, I would think a bigger event than that, you're going to need some heavy duty firepower to, electronics wise, to get it up there. So yeah, I don't think it was a real city. I don't think it was like an interdimensional shift like Thor, where there's different worlds lining up or anything like that. I wouldn't think it was that. I think it was a simulation, but it was a very, very good one if it indeed was real, and I think it's part of something bigger.
It was earlier this year in October, I believe, mid-October, I think it happened.
Yeah, I'll look it up after this because it was really cool.
They were saying, or people were saying, theorizing that it was, this is funny, there was a secret NASA project or atmospheric conditions like the mirage that we're speaking of. And you know what? Superior mirage is actually one of the things they're claiming, an upward projection. This, according to, and I'm reading this here, Jill Coleman, an atmospheric scientist at Ball State University in Muncie, Indiana. She says Fata Morgana, the same thing as the Michigan-Chicago thing, certain type of atmospheric mirage. But that thing's got to be upside down and wavy, and this city in the sky was right side up and totally clear.
So the Chicago skyline, there we go. We're tying it. Yeah, Chicago skyline was mirage, even though that's down at sea level. I'm sorry, lake level in this case. And oh yeah, by the way, the person that wrote in, somebody wrote me and said that couldn't the Chicago thing be explained because Chicago is technically 600 feet above sea level? I was going, and it struck me odd for a second. I was going, wait, no, that's sea level. That just means how far it is from the ocean, not from the lake. There's he was confused. He thought that lake level was sea level, and it's not. Sea level is actually, if Los Angeles, California, that's sea level. Denver, Colorado, that's 5,000 feet above Los Angeles, California. See what I mean? So Chicago is only 600 feet above Los Angeles. See what I mean? What's going on there? Anyway, doesn't matter. The point is that, yeah, Superior Mirage, my ass. That thing was way up there, and they were magnified on top of it. Superior Mirage, where the buildings looked like they were made for giants. I mean, these buildings were huge. In fact, I've never seen a cityscape like that outside of a science fiction movie, which may be a little suspect when I first saw it, but I'm not going to have to go back and revisit it. Was there video or just still shots?
Video. There's video. You can find it.
All right. I'll take a look. It might be pretty cool. I mean,
let me see if I can look it up real quick.
Well,
let people know where to go.
I'd be more convinced when it comes to video if there's more than one video.
Of course.
Because all the best like UFO shots were only taken by one person. And they're way too high end. You can tell that their production value. If that cityscape is production value, and there's only one person that took a video, we see nowadays everybody's got video, so you can't just give me one. Which is why the Paris thing. Why is there no one video of anyone at that rock concert just spinning around and running and doing their version of Blair Witch, running and yelling and screaming and not doing all that stuff? I mean,
well, I've tried to say that to people, and they've said, well, because they were so frightened and so scared.
No, their cameras were already on. It's like every rock concert. Everyone
Another guy told me that people who like, and this is a direct quote, he wrote me, and he was quite angry. He's probably defriended me on Facebook. People that like the band, their name is escaping me, don't videotape the show.
Oh,
they're
Death
really
Metal?
Eagles of Death Metal. They're, quote, really into the music, and they just dance and have fun. They're not obsessed with their cameras. They don't take pictures or videos. And I'm like, so the Eagles of Death Metal people are like totally different than anyone else. Their fans, totally different. Because I've been to concerts, many concerts, and some people take videos, some don't. Some take photos, some don't.
They all have them.
Yeah, I mean, people do it. And there's no special fan of Eagles of Death Metal. But I find just the band name itself, Eagles of Death Metal, who I'd never heard of before that, and Friday the 13th, and the song Kiss the Devil being the song played exactly when the supposed shooting went down in the Bataclan, so suspicious and so weird. Plus, I've seen the Vice interview, Vice magazine interview you can find on YouTube of the band, and they are... One of the band members with dark hair has a side profile, and you can kind of see him smiling. That thing called Duper's Delight, when people who are lying start smiling uncontrollably. Not because they're scared or nervous, or it's just something that they're doing. I don't know what to believe entirely about the whole thing, whether everybody is lying or whether there were sound effects piped into the Bataclan and people got scared because of that and started running, and sound effects were what was played at the football /soccer stadium, and that's when people started running, but no one saw anything, or there were a few staged events happening with blood and sorts of things like that. But as I'd mentioned earlier in the start of the show when David Weiss was here, blood covering everybody who was there in the Bataclan is impossible. It's literally impossible for that to occur.
Yeah. I mean, I treat it like Sandy Hook, and that is, I boil it down as far as I can, and that is no video, never happened. Sorry. There's no video of anybody running around doing that. Same thing with Sandy Hook.
I've seen a bunch of people say, I knew somebody who knew somebody who was there. I knew somebody who knew somebody who died. Yeah,
and I will show them the Ferris Bueller clip where, my sister's boyfriend's former roommate saw Ferris pass out at 31 Flavors last night.
Right.
I guess it's pretty serious. It's credibility. The grapevine is not credible. Never has been. Never will be.
And I'm still open-minded to the point where if something comes to change my mind on that, I will change my mind. I don't want to believe in the things I believe in. I have no vested interest in believing the things I believe in. Yeah. But I do have a vested interest in attempting to discern truth. So,
sure.
All right. Joachim Meingen, probably said his last name wrong, says, you guys mentioned the population being a mystery. What about our Gregorian calendar? Do they control time? I remember reading a little book about a different calendar which counted 30 days to each full moon. The book was called Turtle of the 13 Moons.
Yeah. Like China didn't recognize, Chinese don't recognize the American, it's, officially it's 2015 AD, but the Chinese don't recognize that because it's not, that whole thing has to do with Christianity, the whole AD, after death, after supposedly Christ died. So what is the real year? Is it 6,000? Where there's no initials next to it? Why did we have to put BC and AD next to everything? Why did we just have a straight up calendar? Do they control time? No, but they control the perception of time. Yes.
I do want to go back to what we were talking about earlier with the city in the sky, and I kind of got distracted and we started talking about Paris, but I did say that I would look up and let people know where they can see the video of the city in the sky in China that happened in October of 2015. And I just briefly glanced through various YouTube videos, and there's not one video to direct you to. If you just look up city in the sky, you'll find several, and I haven't been able to click them open because I'm just looking on my phone right now. They may all be the same video, as we were saying, that might make things not so true, or they could be different videos. But just City in the Sky, you'll find it.
Well, I mean, I can buy it. Again, it's and again, let me throw one more at you. If you want to look up some cool stuff, because I trust international sources a lot more than I do our own, and that is, like the crop circle phenomenon, where people are saying, "Oh, it was only in English, and it was only those two drunk guys," and blah blah blah. It's like, yeah, fine. You wanna do that? That's fine. But who the heck did the crop writing in Krasnodar, Russia? Kras or Znodor, Krasnodar. I think it's Z. Where I think I showed you those, where it was literally pages of like 3 or 4 pages of full-blown unreadable text, which covered square miles, and nobody talks about that. It's, in my opinion, the greatest crop writing, crop thing event of all time. Even bigger than the Milk Hill thing. So international stuff, yeah, it happens in China. That's why when that illusionary city was over that river, I thought it was brilliant, because American media even didn't even really know what to do with it.
There's a YouTube channel. His name is Mr. Cat-Eye, C-A-T-I, and he analyzes current crop circles, comes up with numbers, does numerology on all of them and the different points and circles, and counts them and comes up with what he believes that means. Yeah. Whether or not you want to believe in what Mr. Cat-Eye is saying that those things mean, it will nonetheless give you a really interesting look at crop circles that are happening. A lot of them are in Scotland, Ireland, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And they look so amazing.
They're beautiful. I'm not kidding you. The Milk Hill crop circle, that really, really big one, which is, circles connecting each other, it covered almost 500,000 square feet. And it was over undulating terrain. It wasn't even over a completely flat surface. And I wasn't kidding. And that was done in the night. And I try to tell people, say, oh, crop circle is done by, blah, 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 guys walking around with boards and ropes. I was going, dude, you could give me Photoshop in a week on just a screen, and I don't think I could draw that, let alone do it on 500,000 square feet worth of acreage. It was crazy. So, and the crop writing in Krasnodar, anyone who wants to look up some bizarre stuff, look at that. I mean, and it's absolutely authentic. You can see all the cars pulled off the outside of the road, which means that when they were driving to work that previous day, it wasn't there. And there it is, and there's no tracks leading between the pages. It's crazy.
We have our next question from Francisco. It says, hey, Mark, what do you think of Bashar Daryl Ankar? Do you know who that is?
I have no idea who that is. Is that a guy that's done something recently?
Yeah, I think he does channeling, and I don't know much about him, so please excuse me if I speak incorrectly. He's got a YouTube channel, and he does talks about angels and demons and channels and that sort of thing, near-life experiences.
I will try to look into it.
And, he believes that we chose to be here. That's his belief. So I don't really know.
I would kind of, that was part of what I was kind of saying in the Masonic thing.
Yeah.
Which was the entrance seemed, from whatever other world we came from, seems to be, it wasn't guarded or anything. It seemed voluntary, which would make some sense. And we don't have time to talk about it now, but it does make some sense.
Yeah, we've got 10 more minutes, and I'm going to try to burn through some questions here on Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes in the Q&A. And I appreciate all your questions. Really, I do. Jordan Rain says, there was an article that came out in November 2014 where scientists said there is an impenetrable glass wall 11,500 kilometers above Earth.
University of Colorado Boulder. I remember that article because I was living in Boulder at the time. And
how did this get by all of us? And Paris is going to be in the news for forever and a day. But that one's a very interesting story. Well,
it's an interesting story, but a lot of people are like, yeah, whatever. They didn't really, they were saying, well, it wasn't really glass. I think it was like energy, but it was glass-like, and people didn't pay much attention to it. But you're absolutely right. That story did come out, and please, people, review it. You get a chance. It's all connected.
Yeah. Larry Jones says, can you explain what the stars are? Also, why aren't they visible in the GoPro footage captured from weather balloons and amateur rockets? Sorry if this is a newbie question. Larry Jones. Larry, thank you for being a newbie and taking that big leap into the flat Earth world that we all have. There's no such thing as a stupid question. I mean, no matter how long you're in flat Earth, you'll continually ask stupid questions.
It's
the way it is.
Yeah, look, I open with flat Earth, so how much more ridiculous can it get, right? The stars are, in my opinion, my humble opinion, part of a giant planetarium image
They
that is
could
up there.
also be plasma, many have said.
They could be. Oh, well, no, I'm not saying that the image is just 2D. In fact, I said that in the clues. It could be 2D and 3D, and it could be made out of plasma. They could be real things up there. Now, why the GoPro can't see them could be a lens issue. Why they can't see them when they're up there, I'm not sure, because
Well, it could be like when you take a match and hold it. This is a weird example. Take a match, strike it, hold it up against a wall. You
yeah,
will see the match and the flame, but the
you won't.
reflection will only be the match.
Yeah, maybe.
So it could be something along the lines of our perception of light.
Could be, or it could be that maybe that's the reason why it is illegal to put weather balloons up at night. Because remember, the only footage we see of anything going up at night is from NASA.
What about airplanes, though? When you're on an airplane at night, and I have flown at the night times before,
I can see
but
stars.
I wasn't a flat earther then, and I looked out, but I only looked out casually, not like I do now. You saw stars from planes.
Yeah, I've seen stars from planes.
Okay.
Yeah, you bet I have. And I've flown many times. I did business travel for 5 years. And it was, I saw stars, but it wasn't up that high by comparison.
Right.
I mean, your average commercial airliner is up, 35,000 feet. That's not even 6 miles, give or take, depending on how many miles, 5 miles, 6 miles. But it's not that high by comparison. But when a balloon goes up, yeah, it's high enough to where the atmosphere starts thinning out and it gets black. I don't know. Don't know why you can't see the stars up at that high. Other than, remember, the sun is still shining, so maybe it can't. Maybe you physically can't, which is, of course, the astronauts' excuse. That was their big thing. And they said, oh, yeah, we couldn't see the stars at all, ever. It's like, well, wait, couldn't you just set up a camera differently and take some pictures of some stars? No, we didn't bother doing that. Took a lot of pictures of everything else, but...
We have an answer to who Bashar is, a channeling expert, extraterrestrial being, doing it for more than 30 years now. So, since we're of the belief that there's no way to be an extraterrestrial being, but this person's fully convinced that they are an extraterrestrial being, that would mean that they just have who they, if channeling really is what he says it is, he could be channeling something that doesn't have anything to do with extraterrestrials, period.
Interdimensional being is more like it.
Exactly.
Yeah, which is what they kind of touched on in that last Indiana Jones movie, which was that they weren't alien. They weren't from another planet. They were from a place that was much closer. And actually, that was touched on the Roswell movie from I think the mid '80s with Kyle MacLachlan.
Mm-hmm.
And where Charlie Sheen was kind of admitting to him at the end, it's like they're much closer and yet much farther away. They're right next to us. They're living on top of us and maybe in another dimension. Yeah, maybe. But now on that note, would they be allowed, and I believe in the protocols, would they be allowed to tell our civilization exactly how this thing's built? I don't think they are, which is why I don't think they can land. There's ships flying around up there all the time. Ask Stanton. And they aren't allowed to land.
But Stanton also believes those ships come from other planets and the whole assorted world of,
Yeah, maybe, but so does Kent Hoagland, right?
Hoagland? I didn't know that he believed in that.
Kenneth, no, not Hoagland. I'm sorry, Richard Hoagland.
Oh, Richard C. Hoagland. Yes, of course. He believes
Richard Hoagland, yeah. So,
right.
But again, I believed in that stuff too. But now I come back, it's like, no, they're much closer. They're not coming, which takes out all that distance crap out of the equation.
So that would be maybe they're coming from another, if there's a plane that goes on forever, they're coming from another puddle right here.
Mm-hmm.
Or they live in harmony with us, but invisible on a sort of other frequency.
Either. I mean, you wouldn't want to waste space either way. I'll quote the thing from Contact, whereas advanced civilizations would have efficiency functioning on multiple levels. So stacking things on top of each other in different frequencies, we're doing that now with just frequencies.
Yeah, we're doing that now with apartments. I mean, we're doing that now with eggs in crates. It's just
no,
the way
but you know what I mean. Like we're broadcasting radio frequencies right next to television frequencies, right over the top of each other, next to CB radio frequencies. Look at it. I mean, we're doing this with literal transmissions in our limited technological age, we're doing that right now. If you took that up a couple notches, you could, create entire realities that way.
All right, we're coming to the close of the show, and I want to get as many questions as possible. We've got Frank Shepard saying, do we know of any pics, videos of anything hitting the moon? You'd think that with no atmosphere, it'd be visibly bombarded on a regular basis. No evidence of this. Have you ever heard of any evidence? I have not.
No, and you want to ask Crow 777, because he stares at the moon all the time, like his life depended on it, and he's never caught anything. He has caught some interesting lunar waves, which I think is more fascinating, but no impacts at all.
This is a good one from Seek the Kingdom. Seek the Kingdom. Got that. Cool. This is for you, Mark. Would the RICO anti-racketeering law apply to NASA? And we need to replace the word conspiracy with racketeering. Well, in some ways, he's right there.
He is, but the class action lawsuit, if this thing went peacefully, would be so massive.
It would be impossible.
It would take, I can't even imagine how they would even go about it. It would be horrible. They would, and the government agencies tied to NASA it would be massive. So let's not even think about it, because at this point, I just can't see him allowing that to happen.
All right. Teresa Gordon asks, will I ever interview Paul Michael Bales? And I have. His video is somewhere in my collection of now 38 videos.
It's not that far.
And other hot potatoes. Yeah. It had technical difficulties because Paul Michael Bales' bandwidth was low. And so I may interview him again in the near future if I can get a hold of him, because it was all, I don't know what it looked and sounded not that great. It sounded fine. It just looked bad. So thank you for Teresa and Seek the Kingdom. And let me see if I have anybody here that has not been heard from yet. There's some people with repeated a few more questions. Stitching Haven says, I think this NASA deception started when the 3 astronauts died in the 60s. It was doomed from the get-go, and yet they needed it to happen.
Yeah, not all the astronauts. That was where they made the mistake, when they told the Apollo astronauts what they were thinking of doing, and most of them went along with it. But one and his cohorts, unfortunately, they were in the capsule. Well, they weren't even in the capsule. Let's face it. No astronaut's been in the top of any rocket. They just killed him outright because he was being vocal against it, and they knew he was going to be along with the program, and he was stubborn, and that was it. So did he die on top of a capsule? Pfft, no, no way. They just, it was Capricorn 1 style. He was in a meeting room, and in fact, they probably killed him before they even set the fire in the capsule, just to make sure he wasn't wise to it. That's what I would have done anyway. And
he's the one who hung the lemon, the actual
the lemon on the capsule, and said and said the space program was just a joke, and we weren't going anywhere. Which is amazing, because he was one of the best and brightest, and again, it worked in multiple levels, because he was meant as a warning to anybody else that was going to go down that road that he did. So he actually helped them in the long run.
Somebody corrects something that was said earlier, and AD being Anno Domini does not mean after death, and it's medieval Latin, and it's translates to in the year of our Lord. So
fine, but they ask the person out on the street, and they're going to always say after death.
That might
before Christ, after death. Yeah, and yes, he's right. He's right.
Before and BC, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Julian Gregorian calendar.
In fact, you walk into any church, and with the exception of a highly specific church that goes into that doctrine, and they will go with after death. But hey, good catch. See, the internet hive mind misses nothing. Thank you. I'm not picking. Good job.
Oh, I love learning new things, and that's something that I never actually thought of before. But I'm
still going to say after death.
I would have thought it was after death before, but now in the year of our Lord, I have been corrected. Kevin Jacobs asks, not a flat earth question, but Mark, I'm a huge gamer. What games did you play professionally, and what games, if any, do you play now? He played Counter-Strike competitively, and he plays a slew of games now. I was just curious. So Kevin Jacobs, Mark.
All right, let's end on this one because it's a happy thing. Right. Okay. When
maybe it's not a happy thing when it's the game is Mortal Kombat that you play.
No, it's not. No, I played fun games. I really enjoyed it. So the first tournament I ever won, which got me into professional gaming, was a little computer published game back in the 90s called Crystal Caliber Pinball. It was published by Starplay Productions. It was made by a company, I think he's still around, out of Japan, called Little Wing. which is his name. Last name was Fujita, and he made Looney Labyrinth. The Japanese name their stuff's so weird. And then I just started playing anything I could. Well, then I got hired by a company to play games, any game I could professionally. But this was back when there was Marathon and Doom 2 and Quake and the original Warcraft and Warcraft 2. And in fact, my roommate ended up being the world champion of Duke Nukem. Shows you how far back that goes. He won that tournament at E3 and ended up playing the creator of Duke Nukem out in E3 out when it was out in San Diego, and he torched him, just lit him up, which was fantastic. So now, I mean, my favorite games as of late are Warcraft, which just finished its 11th anniversary, working on year 12. Fallout 3, love, and my guilty pleasure game, which I'm embarrassed to even say because it's so silly and it's not a manly game at all, is Plants vs. Zombies. Love that game by PopCap Games. I think that's really great. And its sequel, I'm still working my way through those. So there you have it.
Do you play a game every day?
I am a big dork. No, but I look and see what's out there. And I mean, I played a lot of stuff over the years, but I kind of, you settle into the, your specific thing. I bet
since Flat Earth came along, you play less games.
Oh, I play way less games.
Yeah, since Flat Earth came along into my life, I do fill in the blank less, everything that there is to do.
Oh, yeah,
less,
yeah. I watch less
sleep.
movies. Yeah, I watch less movies. I watch less television shows. I sleep less. Yep. Flat Earth has changed everything because it's more important. I mean, this is one of those truth things that is all consuming. And I've seen too many emails out there from people that say the same thing. It's like, that's all I can think about. I'm just consuming Flat Earth.